your online science tutor. For returning subscribers, I want to say thank you. Thank you for staying with us. And for our new subscribers, I want to say you're welcome. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button before you leave this channel, before you leave this page. Actually, it's going to mean so much to me, and it's going to help the YouTube algorithm to be able to send this very particular video to more people that are actually in need of it. So please do click on the subscribe button. It's actually very important. Thank you. I wanted to bridge the gap between the people that actually go into science because they have a passion for it, and the people that go into other courses because even though they have a passion for science and they understand that the courses they want to read are actually science related, but they feel like science is too difficult and it's not something that they can do. Okay, so we wanted to bridge that gap and make more people see science as something that is doable, something that is achievable, especially with a focus to the West African students that are preparing for their senior school certificate examinations, and for some of them that are of Nigerian origin that are maybe preparing for their joint admission and matriculation board examinations. So in this channel we treat basically the STEM courses, so we give priority to mathematics, physics, chemistry, alongside English language, and of course sometimes biology. So you're welcome again, and without taking too much time, I'm going to go straight into the video for today, into what we are going to be doing for today. And we're going to do something very interesting in mathematics, something that may be even reflected at other levels, not just secondary school level, something that you may actually need to reflect in your life. Okay, so in your day-to-day activity, in your planning, and preparing for your future is something that actually you need to do as a person. So what am I talking about today? Today we are looking at percentages. Yeah, you got it right. Percentages. So sometimes you hear about people talking about budget. The government has created a budget for something. UNN has a budget for something, and they talk in okay, let's say for security they are giving 25% security, then they are giving 10% to basic amenities, like that. So most times you've heard the word percentage. So what does percentage really entail? So today we're looking at hacks and tricks in mathematics for solving percentage problems in very simple steps. Okay, so we're looking at hacks and tricks for solving percentage problem in mathematics using very simple and straightforward, easy to do methods. I know you want to learn, so let's go straight to the class. Okay, so a little background knowledge before we proceed is the fact that percentage, as the word says, percentage. You may want to know what is really percentage before we start talking further. It's actually derived from two words. It's derived from two words, and those two words are per cent. Per and cent. So we are talking about like the cents, and oftentimes you know that the cent, 100 cents make up $1 US. The same way 100 kobo makes up 1 naira. So for the Nigerian, okay. So 100 cents make up $1. So most times when we are considering percentage, we are considering comparing something to 100. So if you are told to calculate, like say 25%, it's going to be 25 over 100. The cent is the 100. So anytime you are given a question that has to do with percentage, I want you to always recall that you are looking at something over 100, just as 100 cents makes $1. Okay, and then there are various ways that percentages play out. For example, in a pie chart, you may say the entire chart is divided into percentages. Everything in totality is 100%. So each of the fractions will have their own various percentage. Okay, and there are also questions that bother on if I'm making a budget, for example, I can make my budget based on the percentage I will allocate to each thing. So percentage is also reflected there. And then another way too is that sometimes a person may buy something and then he buys it at a particular cost price. He's selling it at another cost price, at another price, which now becomes our selling price. And then he either makes a profit, and so the person will either make a profit or he will make a loss. And this loss or profit can also be calculated as a percentage. Alright, another thing that is very common is that for those that work in, let's say, a firm or a sector, for example, when you come in, for example, your salary may be, let's say, $500,000 or $500, and then you are given that the condition for the work may stipulate that for every 2 years you work, your salary is going to be increased by, let's say, 5%. So that means for every year you stay in that company, your salary is growing by 5% increment. So we can actually also see percentage as an increment. All of that is going to be captured in our questions that will be taken down, but I just want you to understand the various ways that percentage can play out, and so that in solving you know that there is no one fast rule about it and just say this is what you do in percentage. Your question is going to determine the formula that will play out. But don't forget that in percentage we are looking at something over 100. Alright, so because this channel is geared towards preparing people and students for the West African Senior Certificate exam and the Joint Admission Board exam, our questions are often tailored to fit into that context. So we may be getting questions that are actually past questions, so that you will understand the kind of questions you should expect at that level, and you also understand the way you are expected to give your answers and to solve. Okay, so most of the questions we'll be doing are actually questions that I picked out of the past questions and answers for the WAEC exam, past questions actually for WAEC exams, so that questions that borders on percentage, so that we can have a feel of it at WAEC level. Okay, I'll go to that point. Oh, good. So we'll be taking down questions now and then going directly to solve for our percentages. So a trader bought 100 tubers of yam as 5 yams for 350 naira. She sold them in sets of 4 for 290 naira. Find a percentage loss or gain. Okay, so generally for percentage loss or gain, the formula we use is gain over the exact price, that's cost price, times the 100%. So percentage gain equals to gain over cost price times the 100, since we are working with percentage. So this is percentage gain. Is equals to gain over cost price times 100. And don't forget that to find your gain is going to be your selling price minus your cost price. So anytime gain is going to be made, It simply means that your selling price must be higher than your cost price. Okay, good. So y for percentage loss will be equals to loss over cost price times 100. Okay, so this is something I need you to take note of. So percentage loss is equals to the loss over the cost price times 100. But to get loss will be equal to cost price minus selling price. Y gain will be equal to selling price minus cost price. So anytime there is a loss, it means that the cost price is higher than the selling price. So for a percentage loss, we are going to be using cost price minus selling price over the cost price times 100 over 1. This is vice versa. Okay, so for this particular question, we were not given the specific cost price that was incurred. Neither were we given the selling price. So it's actually a two-step question. That means that this question expects us to first of all look for the total cost price, and then look for the total selling price. And from the results we are going to obtain from the cost price and selling price, we'll know whether the person made a profit or a loss. And then we'll be able to now say if we are calculating for percentage profits or we are calculating for percentage loss. I want to believe we understand up to that point. Okay? Alright, so my question says a trader bought 100 tubers of yam at 5 yams for 350. So total cost price would be 100 divided by 5 times 350. 20. So this becomes 20 times 350 to give me 0. 2 times 5, 10. Go down 0, carry 1. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 1 7. So this gives me 7,000 for the cost price. And for my selling price, will be equal to 100 yam also divided by 4 times 290. Since the total number of yam is 100 and he sold them in sets of 4. Okay, so that's how we're doing this. So for each 4, he's making he's selling at 290. So 4 into 10, 2, remainder 2. That gives us 20. 4 into 25. So this should be 25 times 209. That should give us 7,250. So based on this, I know that my selling price is greater than my cost price. So the seller is going to make a percentage profit because my selling price is greater than my cost price. So now in calculation, we have seen that the cost price is lower than the selling price. So that means that this particular marketer is going to make a percentage profit. And percentage profit is equals to gain over the exact price times 100%. So we do that very quickly. Gain over. So my gain should be selling price minus cost price over cost price times 100%. So this should give me 7,250 naira minus 7,000 over 7,000 times 100 over 1. So this will become 250 over 7,000 times 100 over 1. Okay, so let me go by it again. Percentage gain is equals to gain over cost price times 100%. Percentage loss is equals to loss over cost price times 100%. Even percentage error is equals to error over actual times 100% times 100. Okay, so for this one, all we needed to do was to find the cost price because it wasn't expressly given from our question, and then find the selling price also based on the information we're supplied, and then we know that because our selling price was higher than our cost price, all we calculate for will be percentage gain. So we did that, and then the final answer we got is 3.57%. Okay, so we're going to take other questions that portray other kind of points under percentages. Okay, so it's not every time that questions that borders on percentage, you're going to be given a question that is going to be will have to do with cost price, selling price. Sometimes you may be given variables that are related by percentages, and you're expected to find the percentage of one in comparison to the other. Okay, like this particular question right now that says, if 30% of y is equals to x, what in terms of x is 30% of y? So you are going to interpret every statement as a mathematical function. I know that may sound big and confusing, but it's something simple. Just follow. We are going to interpret the statement we have been given in terms of percentage and then solve with it like that, because our answer should be in terms of x. So we are not looking at something that you're comparing 5% of this amount of dollar to this. No. Now we're solving for in terms of x. Don't forget that in mathematics you can be given numbers, digits, numerals to work with, or you can also be given unknown, with the most common unknown being x. I want to believe you know that already. Alright, so good. So if 30% of y is equals to x, what in terms of x is 30% of 3y? So 30% of x, based on my question, is equal to, okay, 30% of y is equal to x. That means 30 over 100, that is 30%. Y is equal to x. What I just did right now was to write this statement in mathematical form. 30% is going to be 30 over 100. So anytime we're considering percentage, we're considering something over 100. Okay? Good. So 30% is 30 over 100. So I was able that 30% of y is equal to x. So to find in terms of x, I will need to make my x the subject of formula. So let's say this over 1 cross multiplying. So 0 can cancel 0 here so that it becomes simplified. So 3 over 10 y is equal to x over 1 cross multiplying. That means 10x is equal to 3y. Have it? So this is now in terms of x. Good. But what I was asked to look for is, what is y? What is y? That's what in terms of x is 30% of 3y. This is 3y already. So 30% of 3y, I'm going to be taking the 30% of this particular function. Okay? So 30% of 3y will become, expressing everything in terms of x will become 30%, 30 over 100 times 10x. Do we get that? Because 3y is equals to 10x. So anywhere I see 3y, I'm imputing 10x to replace 3y. Because the question answers I should look for 30% of 3y. So I'm looking for, this becomes my 30% of 3y. So I can do the same thing again. This cancels. So I have 10 here. 3 over 10 x will be equals to 3 over 10 will be equal to 10x. Cancelling, cancelling. Therefore, x will equal to 3. 30x over 10 will equal to y. Therefore, it equals to 3x. So in terms of y, 30% of 3y will be equal to 3x. Do we get to that point? Do we understand to that point? So generally, it's not every time that you'll be given a question that you have it's not every time you'll be given a question that you're working with just numbers. There are times you'll be working with an unknown value like x and y, comparing their percentages, and using the basic relationship you have been given that exists between them to look for what one would be in terms of the other. Do we follow to that point? Alright, we're still going to be taking another question to portray another way that percentages can come up. Percentage question can be asked of you. So our question says, if 85% of x is equal to 3,230, what is the value of x? I told you that there are times when it will not just be profit and loss. So you can be given a question like this. Whatever you are given in percentage, please don't forget that percent is being expressed as over 100. Okay? So if you do that, you'll be able to easily get your answer. So this question says, if 85% of x is this, what is the value of x? So 85% should be 85 over 100 is equals to x is equals to 3230 by 1. So I'm told to find x. I simply cross multiply. Okay, that will give me 32300 is equals to 85x. Therefore, x will be equal to 32300 divided by 85. X is equal to 3,600. Okay, so you see how simple and straightforward percentage can be. You just need to understand that whatever percent you are given is divided by 100, and then either you are multiplying or you are now using your formula for cost price, selling price, and all of that. Okay, good. All right, so we'll still take another question. It says the monthly salary of a man increased from 2,700 to 3,200. Find the percentage increase of the man's salary. Percentage increase is going to be increase over actual amount times the 100%. So that means percentage increase equals to increase over original salary times 100%. Okay, so my increase was not actually given, but I can find it because I was given initial salary and final salary. So it becomes, increase becomes final salary minus initial salary. So this gives me 3,200 minus 2,700, 500. Okay, so percentage increase becomes 500 over 2,700 times 100%. Cancel, cancel. This becomes 500 over 27, which should give us 18.5%. Okay, 18.5%. So you see that questions actually border on percentage are actually simple. All you need to do is to be able to identify what is your cost price, what is your selling price for questions that border on that, to be able to identify what relationship exists between two variables if you are given to compare their percentages, to be able to know what's your increase or what's your initial. That's the only critical point, identifying the exact thing for each particular one. Okay, the final question we'll take, and we'll call it a day for percentages. So the question says that instead of recording the number 1.23 as the radius of a tube, a student recorded 1.32 centimeter. Find the percentage error correct to one decimal place. Percentage error equals to exact, that's error, over exact or actual times 100. Okay, so what was the error the student made? Instead of recording the number this as the radius of the tube, the student recorded this. So that means my error will be 132 minus 1.23. Okay, so for this one, we'll first of all find our percentage error. That's our error becoming what student measured minus what is supposed to measure the exact to give us this. And then percentage error is equals to error over exact, or the actual thing is supposed to have measured, which is 0.09 over 1.23 times 100%, and this gives us the final answer. Alright, so I just want to give a simple hack that you can use anytime you're solving for percentage questions. And that simple hack is to find %35 of 20. You know that normally what you are going to be doing is going to be 35 over 100 times 20. This is also equal to 20 over 100 times 35. I had to rearrange because if I want to do this cancellation, it may seem like more difficult. What I'm just trying to say in essence is that whatever you know that is going to give you ease in calculation, like the way you arrange the number such that it can be easy for you to cancel out and then work with smaller fractions, is very advised. So for example, this now, 1 can go, 0 cancel 0. So 2 here 1, 2 here 5. That gives me 35 over 5, which will give me 7%. And somebody else can decide to do 20 here 1, 20 here 5, 35 over 5 should also be equal to 7%. So whatever works for you. If you need to solve, if you need to exchange the values like I did here, 35% of, if you need to write the percentage and then the 100 before multiplying, good. If you need to write what you are multiplying by, but whatever it is that is most convenient that you can easily cancel that and get your answer, is very, very advised. It was Mr. Ben Stevens that actually made this clarification on his Twitter page, and it trended, and it's something that I believe will be useful to you as a student. So that simply means that because percentages is a work that involves multiplication, and multiplication, you know, is commutative. That means that 2 times 3 is also equal to 3 times 2. So you can solve and interchange your percentages, what works for you and what is easy for you to do. Okay, I hope you really got value in today's class. If you did, please recommend the channel to your friends. If you have suggestion, please drop it in the comment section. If you don't, please just comment percentage in the comment section. it will help the algorithm to be able to supply this particular video to more people. Thank you once again for giving me your time. Thank you for staying to the end of this class. Success in your exams. Keep practicing. Have a nice day.